Hey everyone, yes, Steven is back once again. As you recall, last year I made a public domain video about what will become in the public domain in 2020 and 2025, with my intention on remaking that video at some point. Well, today's the day. For those of you who didn't see the original video, it'll still be up on our channel, but this version is more or less going to be a remake of that video. We're talking about books, characters, songs, and films that have entered the public domain. Not all of them, mind you, but a good chunk was in the public domain this year. And before I talk about that, a couple of things I do want to clarify. First of all, this only applies to things that are in the public domain in the United States. With some countries, what I'm about to tell you may not be in the public domain in your respective country, so double check in advance if I were you. Second, I do want to point out that some of these things I may have touched on in the original video, and I'm going to talk about it again. But I'm going to try to do a better job explaining the significance of these projects. If I can, of course. And third, before I list everything here, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more content like this, and comment down below. So, with that introduction out of the way, let's get started. So, first things first, besides the first talk-cartoon short, Noah's Lark, and the first 5 City Symphonies, as well as several Mickey Mouse shorts, including the Carnival Kid, which was the first time that the character spoke, by the way, as well as the Opry House, the first short they wore gloves. These characters will enter the public domain as well. You got Popeye the Sailor, and bear in mind this is the Thimble Theater version of the character, along with Horsecollar, and along with plus Tintin and Captain Easy. All these characters and more have entered the public domain as of today, or rather yesterday when I'm filming this. But I do want to make that point clear. And in addition to them, you also got the last batch of the Miss Oswald shorts and the first batch of the Lance Oswald shorts, including the first one, Race Rally, also entered the public domain this year. Plus, the first few batches of Columbia's Crazy Cat shorts have entered the public domain this year as well. As well as obviously every comic strip that was published in 1929. Along with the first or the early editions of the Tarzan comic strip that's also in the public domain. Now, as for music and songs, bear in mind this is only applied to songs that were recorded in 1925 or published in 1929. So, just so you know, among the songs that made the public domain for the first time, does include For the Song of My Heart, Ain't Misbehaving, Singing in the Rain, Honeysuckle Rose, Am I Blue, Sweet Georgia Brown by Ben Birdie, Barnum Bill the Sailor, Happy Days Are Here Again, and the original version of Put on the Ritz. Now, there was a revised version of that song, and that version is still technically under copyright until, or rather, when we get to the 1946 portion of the of the expiration on the copyrights. In other words, the Gary Cooper bit, that version is still under copyright. So you can't sing that version, but you can sing the original version of that song, which is about Harlem, rather than Manhattan. So just to be clear, as long as you sing the Harlem version of Ritz, you're fine. The Manhattan version, you might be in trouble. So just keep that in mind. In addition to those, several films that entered the public domain includes the first sound recording of the Titanic disaster, Atlantic, Dynamite, the first sound film by Cecil B. DeMille, Hallelujah, which was the first film with an African-American cast, Eternal Love, that's final sound film by John Barrymore, Sherlock Holmes' sound debut and the return of Sherlock Holmes, the first Marx Brothers film, Coconuts. In addition to that, you also got Spiked, as Spy Marriage, which was the last feature film directed by Buster Keaton. Along with Say With a Song, which was the first all-talking film by Al Jolson, The Broadway Melody from MGM, Welcome to Danger, the first sound film by Harold Lloyd, and Black Bill, the first sound film by Alfred Hitchcock. In addition to those, On With the Show is also technically the first color film with sound that's also entered the public domain as well, among many other films. Now, for the most notable, as for the books, they include the English version of All Quiet on the Western Front, Tarzan and the Lost Empire, Of Arrow to Arms, and The Magic Island, which is where we get the first, version where a zombie comes from, by the way. So, needless to say, and there's also a lot of dozen other books that fall into the public domain this year as well. But these are the ones that's able to list on a short notice. And I do apologize for that, for being rushed. But with all that being said, let me know which public domain song, film, character, or book they were interested in to learn more about. Let me know all that and more in the comments down below. And I'll see all of you next time. Bye!